Hey guys, first Guardsman here, and today I'll be talking about a Heroic Thunderhammer build for the Assault class in Space Marine 2 patch 12.1. Now, the Heroic Thunderhammer is actually the best fencing hammer in the game, mainly because the stat spread here is just a strict upgrade over the Relic tier, and because of our low base damage on fencing options, I do generally build around Gunstrike damage for these builds, so we'll be doing that today. Now, for the perk tree here, we do have the Heroic perk effect, Electrified Thunderclap. Fully charged attacks leave behind a shock grenade effect. Now, on the Assault class, this will actually leave a shock area on your ground pound as well, and it will also leave a shock area for any aftershock slam you do. This will not function for ground slam at all, ground slam being like the basic heavy attack of the Thunderhammer, and ground pound being the jump pack ability of your Assault. It can get a little bit confusing, but the big thing here is your ground pound, that will leave a shock area, and aftershock, which is the charge attack of this weapon, will also leave a shock area for every single smash. So aftershock improved to give you 2 shock areas, and you also don't have to charge them up at all. It just be like any amount of charge. So the description here is actually a little bit incorrect, but that's how the Heroic perk effect works. Now, for the main perk tree, I do take Perpetual Strength first for a 5% melee damage increase. Then I pick up the perk here, Fast Preparation. Aftershock preparation times reduced by 30%. We are an Aftershock build here predominantly, so definitely pick this perk up. And to be honest, pretty much always pick this up on like any Thunderhammer build, because Aftershock is good on every single variant. Now, the next perk here is Perpetual Strength, and Perpetual Strength again for a 10% melee damage increase. And then I pick up the combo Shattering Impact and Seismic Chain. Seismic Chain just gives you an additional Ground Slam after the initial one, and Ground Slam is the base heavy attack of this weapon. Like, you go light attack into a charge attack, and you immediately get this out. You can do another charge attack after that. And with an 8 speed here, it's actually a very fast weapon attack, so definitely a good option for us. And Shattering Impact just gives you more AoE on those actual Ground Slams, so even better. Next perk here is Perpetual Strength, down here to the perk after Aftershock. After hitting an enemy with the Aftershock, you deal 10% more melee damage for 10 seconds. This is a pretty good perk because you don't actually have to hit them with the slam of your Aftershock here. When you do an Aftershock charge attack, you will bring up the pommel of your weapon first and then come down for the slam, and that initial pommel hit will actually trigger this perk, so pretty good. Next perk is Kill Streak into Aftershock Improved for an additional smash on your Aftershock. You pretty much always pick this up, but you definitely want it on the Heroic Thunderhammer because it will give you an additional shock area. That's kind of like the whole point of using this in the first place. Next perk here is Minora Slayer up here into Majora Slayer, and that's all there is for the Heroic Thunderhammer build. Now, for the secondary, I do take the Heroic Heavy Bolt Pistol, mainly because this weapon has the highest Gunstrike damage in the entire game, and I am building around Gunstrikes on this build today. And on top of that, the Heroic perk effect, No Help is Coming, is incredibly useful. Being able to one-shot reinforcement calling enemies is just super good in Space Marine 2. Reinforcement calling enemies happen all the time. It also actually effectively save you ammo by preventing those enemies from calling those reinforcements, and also on lethal difficulty and above, you will have enemies go enraged pretty much guaranteed off a single interrupt, so being able to one-shot them removes an enraged enemy on top of the horde, so really good value here. Now, I will say, if you're fighting Chaos, Plasma and Inferno can definitely be better, because having a stagger option for missile terminators and things like Chaos Spawn can be really good for you, but on this build against Tyranids, I think this one's the best option for the game. Now, for the perk tree here, I do take Divine Might first, moving here into the perk Perpetual Penetration. Then I pick up Increased Capacity, Extended Magazine to Death Strike. Now, I really do think on most builds, going these first 5 perks is just the best option overall, because the only real decision to make is like, do you want to pick up Able Damage, or do you want to go up here for things like Discipline and Headhunter instead? Now, Able Damage will give you a 20% damage increase for using your class ability, and on Assault, you use your class ability all the time with things like Zealous Blow and Furious Strikes, so a really good option here for us, which is why I pick it up on him. Though even on the Assault class, you could skip over this perk and go up here instead for Discipline and Headhunter, because these are also very strong options. The final perk, however, is always the same, which is Tactical Precision, which is a headshot damage increase of 20%, and non-headshot damage decreasing by 10%, because having a 20% increase to your headshot damage is pretty much all that matters on this weapon, so I pretty much always pick this up. But, you know, if you want to go up here and just, like, skip over this perk and take Discipline instead, you could definitely do that, but I pretty much always pick up perks like Death Strike, because a 25% damage increase on killing a Majoris in melee is very strong and also triggers off a finisher, and that's pretty much all there is for the secondary here. Now, for the Assault perk tree, you do have a couple options in the first column. You could take Overcharge first if you want. This is a 25% multiplicative melee damage increase to your held and charged melee attacks. That includes your Aftershock and Ground Slam, so it is pretty good on the Thunder Hammer, but to be honest, with a base strength of 11 on the fencing versions, I don't think it's worth taking here over things like Armor Reinforcement, because this one will give you a 1 armor back for every non-finisher Gunstrike, which is a very powerful effect in Space Marine 2, mainly because any amount of armor remaining in this game will reduce all incoming melee damage to 0 even from bosses, and it will also help you damage cap against range. And we do have a fencing weapon, so pulling off Gunstrikes is incredibly easy, so I'm picking this one today. Next perk is Auxiliary Arsenal. Secondary weapons damage increases by 20%. You can really take whatever you want in this column. They are all top tier effects. Defense Mechanism is amazing for survivability, and Consecutive Execution can give you 90-second Melt-A-Bombs, which are incredible in this game as well. And mainly because a Melt-A-Bomb will just remove a Lictor, Ravener, Melee Terminator, and stuff like that from the game for you, so a really powerful effect. Next perk here is Active Attrition. Enemies hit by damage from melee attacks, executable, sprinting, or dashing take 25% more damage for 5 seconds. This applies a debuff to the enemy hit that will affect them for your entire team, and on top of that, it will also buff up your Gunstrike damage dealt to them, so pretty great for us all around. And we are taking things like Furious Strikes and Commitment on this build later, so really good synergy there on top of that. Next perk here is Proven Efficiency for 30% more Gunstrike damage because we are a Gunstrike build, and the next perk here is Furious Strikes. Hitting an enemy with the dash attack after a jump pack dash restores jump pack's ability charge by 1. The cooldown is 10 seconds. This perk is just god tier in patch 12 and patch 12.1. If you have this with Commitment, you can go jetpack positive. That means the jump pack dash you get for free off of this perk can then lead into a jump pack dash attack, and that will give you an extra jump pack on top of it. So really good for any build on the Assault ever. If you want to skip over this, if you really want to go like full ground pound, because I am taking Zealous Blow here, you could take Smiting Angel instead, but to be honest, I just think this perk is too strong to not take currently. Now, the next perk here is Zealous Blow. A ground pound kill restores jump pack's charge by 10%. I'm mainly taking this because on a Heroic Thunderhammer, you do want more ground pounds because that means more shock areas. That's kind of the whole point of using this in the first place. But if you want to take Wings of Flame instead, you could do that because Wings of Flame right now with Furious Strikes, with Commitment, is just a god tier perk combo. We know that is up to you. The next perk here is Pride and Duty. After a finisher, ground pound deals 25% more damage for 10 seconds. Having a little bit of extra ground pound damage here is very nice, and this will trigger on any finisher in the game. It doesn't matter if it's like a Minoris, Majoris, or Extremis, so really good all around. And the final perk is Commitment because this just enables Furious Strikes, and right now this is one of the best perks in the whole game for Assault because Assault's jump pack dash in patch 12 does have an animation cancel, and that means you can now jump pack dash out of any animation you're doing, and this perk lets you do that for free on any build if you time it properly. So that's why we picked this up here. Though if you do want to skip over these perks, you could take like Ample Ammunition with Smiting Angel. These are also quite strong, but Furious Strikes and Commitment, I think this is overall the best currently. Now for the prestige perks here, I do take Unyielding Oath first. When charging a ground pound, you become invulnerable for 3 seconds. This perk pretty much makes you invulnerable the entire trajectory of your ground pound. That is very useful for keeping you alive, and we are a ground pound build after all, so kind of a no-brainer here. Next perk is Fortitude for a health increase of 15%. Into the perk Scramble Targeting or Practice Aim, you could take either one of these. These are both pretty damn good. Scramble Targeting is obviously a bit safer, and Practice Aim just gives you a bit more damage. Now the next perk here I would pretty much always take, and that is Hammer of Wrath. After using your jump pack, you take 30% less range damage, do not lose control from heavy hits, and cannot be knocked back for 15 seconds. This perk is incredible. This is probably the best prestige perk on this entire class at the moment besides Fortitude, mainly because a free 30% range damage reduction on every jump pack use is just a ridiculously good effect, and no knockback is something you want all the time, and this one is kind of like completely replaced Adrenaline Boost as like the major pick for a no knockback perk on this class in general. And also you can trigger this off of like any jump pack dash and ground pound, so it's really good and way better than it sounds initially. And that's pretty much all there is for this build, guys. The Heroic Thunderhammer is pretty fun. I do think this weapon is better on Bulwark than Assault, mainly because Assault just gets way less out of shock than Bulwark does, because Bulwark has like Shock and Awe and Emergency Countermeasure here, so I do think it's a little bit better over on this guy, but Assault can still take advantage of this, and Assault does have way more synergy for Gunstrikes on this option, and that's why we're building around that today. And hopefully this build guide helped you, and if you like content like this, subscribe for more, and as always, thank you for watching, take it easy, bye.
See you tomorrow. It seeks to prey.
Okay, so I go to a Thunderhammer now and it gives me a Neuro Throw. I sure do love this game's AI director.
Another alien. Imperial scoop. I am the righteous and ever. Commencing reload. Purge the aliens.
Okay. Oh, I said that too late. Oh, this will aid my jump pack though. He's about to do his little thing. I'm not.
Avenging angel. Angel of death. The Xenos infestation is stemmed.
I love range spam. Of all the things I like in life, this has gotta be number one. I like a lot of things. I'm an enjoyer of many autistic things. Okay, trap this guy, and then
another alien falls to the Imperium's keep. I'm airborne ready.
we love it.
We are the exterminators.
It loves you. It certainly does. Yeah, the AI director is giving you all ranged enemies. You can play a melee build in this game solo is kind of lame. Your Space Marine has a gun. It must like range gameplay. If that's true, why doesn't it give me a Neuro Throw when I play Heroic Volt Sniper every time?
We must consider our brothers lost then. Our objective is to secure the cyclonic warheads at all costs, encountering heavy Tyranid resistance. Hold fast, Teraton. Our duty is dealing death.
Can you take a second to flex your drip? I want to see what you're wearing. We're wearing a Mantis Warrior. Okay, now Mantis Warriors may have among the ugliest drip in Space Marine history, really. But these guys were kind of traitors at one point. They somewhat got forgiven, but
The wrath of Espandor itself will
they have a troubled history. Not much to flex, to be honest. Yeah, how much can a Mantis Warrior really flex? The helmet's hard. This helmet's just a Mark X helmet, dude. It's got a little skull on it. I think it actually does fit the Mantis Warriors pretty well. I think Mark X looks quite good with like recolored faceplates.
Xenos infestation is dead. Me as an angel of death.
Combat Squad Heraton reporting in. The bridge is lost, as are my squad brothers. I am cut off from our planned route to the Ordnance Depot.
I will say this is one of the weirdest builds you can play in Assault in this game. The Zealous Blow with Furious Strikes is quite odd.
Be advised.
Also, building for Gunstrikes with a hammer always feels strange, but does work. Bomb.
Me as an angel of death. Order returns very
Talassa,
Mantises have tough, chitinous exoskeletons. Definitely not much to flex.
Heraton.
I don't think we're talking about the bug here, sir.
Locate the power routers with these symbols and reawaken them.
But I'm the guy who asked me what's the best strip in 40k. I mean, the most fabulous strip obviously goes to Blood Angels, but if you like old knight-looking stuff, it's probably Dark Angels or Black Templars. It really depends on like how much you prefer Crusader aesthetic.
Xenos hunger is insatiable, but the Imperium dominates. Avenging angels. Do not let that one come to reinforce. Reinforce the pestilence swarm.
I've seen mods where you can play different characters like Necrons. Do you think you would ever use the one that lets you play as a guardsman? So the thing about mods like that is, just because you can play as something looking like a Necron, it's usually just a model reskin. Like the one you're talking about is a model from Dawn of War that was just repurposed and ported over into Space Marine 2 as a skin. Now, the guy who created the Astartes Overhaul, I have talked to him a fair bit. Or I should say he reached out to me. And he said there is some big stuff coming for the Astartes Overhaul in terms of, like, actions, potentially. But we'll see. I don't know where it's at in development.
Xenos hunger is insatiable, but the Imperium dominates.
Best strip in 40k, it's a tough one. I feel like it's a very much a personal preference question, though. I feel like a lot of what people like in 40k is the color combinations. Everyone's got a favorite color, right? I think the worst one's pretty easy. Like, Lamenter Piss Yellow is pretty gross. I think that's the worst color. I don't know if I hate their armor. Definitely not a fan of Lamenter Yellow. First Legion all the way, yeah. I wish I'd done this. Wow, I didn't even read it. Why did I do that?
Console displays a new symbol configuration.
Alright, ZXP. I don't know why I just walked up to that. I was like, interact button, it must be the right one then, of course. But yeah, Dark Angels are definitely peak. They have really good drift. Even their Terminators look cool, like Deathwing. Though, last time I made a Terminator outfit, everybody called it Dr. Doom. I don't know how I feel about that personally. Yeah, it's kind of like asking what is your favorite flavor of ice cream. Everyone's got one, but man, are there a lot of flavors. I feel that's what most people base their first Tabletop army on is, oh, do I like X color for die?
Another alien falls to the Imperial's key.
Welcome in, Lord Vegeta.
Me as an angel of death. I am airborne ready. Reload.
The XP. Give me the X. Where's the P?
Accurate symbol.
For the Emperor. What's up, Aster? Here we go. Perfect.
Jump pack review.
Let me take Zell's blow.
Sequence accepted.
As we waste all our jetpacks. So once you, on this map, once you get one of these objectives, you don't have to do the second one, so I have to search the server towards the end now.
We must proceed towards the plasma reactors at once.
Oh my gosh, actually is kissing a line on me.
We just say to bring light to the darkness.
Would it be possible they ever added a lightning chain sword? Okay, so possible, everything's possible, brother. Anything can happen in life.
Releasing crack grenade.
Likely. That's a far different question.
Attention, all departments. We have confirmation that combat squad Fearless is lost.
Shocked him into pissing all over the floor. That's one of the downsides of the heroic Thunderhammer.
Combat squad Heraton here. Redirecting along newly advised path.
Jump pack review.
Combat squad Octavio reporting in. Cyclonic armament secured for now. Talassa, you are nearing the reactor cooling hall.
So being new to PvE, I naturally picked up Bulwark. I enjoy melee a lot. Wish I used a second. As a second, I can't Bulwark chat. Assault. I would say. If you like Bulwark, you probably like Assault. They play fairly similarly. Is this straight Absolute Plus or more mod/buffs? This is just Absolute. Absolute Plus would have like 10 times as many enemies here.
All squads, we have updated
Mantis Warrior, I see you're a man of culture as well. I don't know if I'd call Mantis Warriors, you know, a cultural icon, but yes. You know, word on the street is second to Regardsman's favorite chapter is Mantis Warriors.
When you reach the reactor's cooling console, disable the emergency blast shields. Emergency blast shields retracting. Warning. Coolant rods exposed. Talassa, I need you to disable the
Second to Regardsman is a massive Iron Hands fan for obvious reasons. He's really more of a man of iron. You know that there's that one man of iron that like doesn't tell anybody he's a man of iron? Or like they just pretend that like he's some Mechanicus thing, but he's actually just a man of iron. I don't know how many of you guys know about that little tidbit, but like there is, if I remember correctly, there is like one Mechanicus group, or there's a guy that pretends, or there's a man of iron that's left over from the Dark Age technology, or before the Dark, or you know, right after the Dark Age technology, and they just pretend they're not a man of iron. And it's just like a servitor or something. Or a servo skull operated thing that's 100% just AI.
Do not be gentle. Unleash your wrath. The world is seen of sort. Pursue. Now pursue. Jump back with you.
A frost axe would be cool. That would be really nice. Now, I've seen some people say like they're not going to add in anything chapter specific as like a heroic option. But, like, I don't see why not. The new heroic chainsword looks like it's going to be a White Scars thing anyways. We shall out. Is that the one that would also kill anyone if they found out it's secret because it's also a Man of Iron? Yeah, that's the one. I mean, to be fair, can you blame the Man of Iron for killing anybody that finds out it is actually AI? It's not exactly like the Imperium's a big fan. You know, I don't know if, like, banning all AI was the best idea, okay? I'm just gonna say this. Like, just try better next time. That's what I say. Just because they all killed you last time doesn't mean they'll kill you next time. Canonically, 40k takes place in our universe, so, just in the future. So, like, surely that means iRobot existed. And iRobot showed that the one robot was actually friendly to humans at the end and became friends with Joe Smith. His SCG speaking. Guys, it's like there's one Man of Iron with like a printed out page that just has like a human face on it. He's like, guys, I think we should bring back AI. It's in the conference room. Wonderful idea, Dave. Is this assault build weapon your choice for the hardest ops? No, it's just a little fun thing. This is actually probably one of the goofier builds on assault. Oh, do you teleport behind me? Bitch. Get back here. You little rat. Actually had me chase this guy across the map. He doesn't want the smoke.
One step closer to the reactor overheating.
Registering extreme temperature fluctuation. Plasma cooling efficacy.
Yeah, they find him. He claims to be an old mechanic in the servitor. Can you blame him?
Jump back.
Excellent, Talata.
As you all know, the Mechanicus loves AI. It is kind of funny, though. It's that easy to fool the Mechanicus. They're like, yeah, guys, I'm just a servitor. Definitely. Wink, wink. Nudge, nudge. He didn't want the smokes. It comes out of his jetpack. I don't think he wanted it. He got it, though. These were plasmas nice. You just one-shot these things. I just unlocked Prestige for Bulwark. I'm not sure which one I should get first. Well, lucky you. I have a whole guide on that. If you look at all the best Prestige perks in 2026, you can find it on my YouTube channel. I don't actually remember the exact first selection. I'm pretty sure it's Auxiliary Reload. If you can take Overcharge, take that. Pretty sure it goes like Auxiliary Reload, Resilience, and Overcharge. And Overcharge is definitely the best one out of that bunch.
Another alien falls to the Imperium. Swapping magazine. Take flight and let terror fall. I am airborne ready. The world is seen of sorts consumed, now consumed. Melt the bomb and
We're pistol maxing here. Hold on. We're actually gonna need more ammo. Usually put another ammo box here though. Fine for us. Okay. My favorite portion of Reclamation is Can you talk a little bit about when to dash versus ground pound? It really depends on the build. It really depends on the build. But, like, I mean, dashing is free. You perfect dodge it. So, pretty much a dash whenever you can. It gets you out of something. The thing about your jump pack dash, like this ability here, this will animation cancel anything you're doing. So if you're about to get smacked in the face while you're charging something up in the middle of an attack, sometimes that is your only option. I would say a lot of that just comes down to game sense. Like, it is hard, because, you know, you see this all the time where people will, like, watch gameplay and be like, oh, you should have done XYZ here, and it's like, it's hard to, like, properly get somebody in the headspace to know exactly what they should do in, like, a given situation. That's assuming I know what to do in every situation, which obviously I don't. And, so it's even harder for me to, like, convey that to people sometimes. But the more you play, the more you'll get a sense of that. You gonna be all over Dawn of War 4 too? Probably. Probably will be. I know Indy and I are supposed to make some videos on Total War and Dawn of War 4 when that comes out. We already talked about that a bit. And that lucky bastard has already played Total War 40k, Dawn of War 4, but us humble peasants must wait.
Talassa, have you received word from our brother in combat squad Heraton? His approach vector should have taken him through the technical underbelly.
I'm definitely less excited for Dawn of War 4 than I am
Understood. Be advised. We remain
than I am for the
assault.
Heat from the plasma reactors will roast them in their
the other stuff. Or I should say, I'm less excited for Dawn of War 4 than Total War 40k. Yeah, you signed up for the alpha/beta but never got an email. I know Indy flew out, he was talking about, he flew out and met Cole Sprouse, one of the voice actors from Warhammer 3. Also, as seen on Street Life on Deck. Unfortunately, you can't really say shit about what they actually showed him, but he's also making Total War content for like 15 years at this point. But he's one of the OGs. He dodged it. Let the girl. I'm hyped for Dawn of War 4, there's something about it. Though it kills my hype, it's gonna be kind of Dawn of War 3 vibes. I mean, from what I've heard from people who've played it, it is much better than Dawn of War 3, and they are trying to very much separate themselves from that game. Bonk. Bonk.
The world is seen or sought to consume. Now consumed is come. Avenging angel exposed. Most detonations fly. Your reign of terror is ended.
If the Lion is a playable unit, it'll be worth it. I'm pretty sure he's confirmed already. Okay. Riveting.
Another alien falls to the Imperium's replenishing firepower.
I don't want that.
I'm airborne ready.
The downside opens flame. Can't beat. Windows not that generous. Still pretty generous though. Assault does have a lot of skills that could take advantage of Argent Edge and Power Gladius, but the image of an assault ground pounding with a knife makes me laugh. It would certainly be pretty goofy looking. Also, it wouldn't make a whole lot of sense that this guy lands with like a tiny little knife.
Talasa, we have lost contact with Heraton leader, and Octavio is pinned down.
Yeah, the story mode kind of branches off like in Dawn of War Winter Assault, and you can play missions on Blood Ravens or Dark Angels. I'm looking forward to, I mean, I'm glad Dark Angels are showing up. It does make me wonder what we're going to see in Space Marine 3, because Space Marine 3 is supposed to have more chapters come in eventually as well. They put out a poll for that way back when, asking players what other chapters they want to see in Space Marine 3, so you're probably going to see Blood Angels or Dark Angels, would be my expectation.
Access granted.
Okay. It's time to go Supreme Bonk mode. And bonk all over these guys. I guess we checked for the log spot here, couldn't we?
The reactor and its guardians await.
Oh, now we're definitely gonna bonk them. 0% chance of a proper L. Say as we just get like as we get bonked by a lecture immediately right inside the doorway.
That reactor must be destroyed.
And kind of bummed out we didn't run the Blood Ravens again like Space Marine 1. We're gonna get more in the next one. Keep my shock areas.
Here it comes, brothers.
Jump pack refuel.
You get a ridiculous amount of armor on this build. Realistically, when do we think Space Marine 3 is coming out? 2029 at the earliest, so... They said the game is on a 4-year dev cycle, just like this game was. So 2029 or 2028, maybe. But conservative estimate is 2029. So like by the time that game's out, we'll probably be like a year or two into Total War 40k. On top of like whatever's coming out for other things, like I mean by then Fast Shark's new game title might even be out or like announced. We'll see. It's a ways away. With at least one delay, yeah. At least one delay for the game. I'm excited for Space Marine 3, obviously, but also, I do wonder what the balance for that game's going to look like on launch, because Space Marine 2 is by a different dev team at this point. Not a different dev team, like, you know, same company, obviously, but the original team that worked on the game is no longer working on this game. They're all on different projects, potentially even, like, non-Space Marine projects. I kind of doubt that. But Saber does make, like, 15 billion games a year. That's an actual number, you can check it out. Not hyperbole at all, but... A lot of the balance decisions in this game were almost mandatory to make the game playable, in my opinion. So if we launch Space Marine 3 at the same balance as Space Marine 2 had initially, I think anybody that's been playing Space Marine 2 the entire time is going to be like, what the fuck is this? There's going to be the obvious controversy there where they are going to resell everybody their DLCs again. Or Terminal Crusade 2? Opium? You can pray. I'm sure praying to the Emperor will do more than nothing. Alright, now he goes enraged. Oh, now he grabs me. I actually interrupted him last. Dang.
Ship no more.
Fire Warrior 2. You know, somebody said the other day that was their first 40k game. Like, really, the first 40k game you ever played, you're playing as a fucking cow.
Prepare for rapid egress.
Okay. I mean, it's possible.
Advised, the gyroscopic containment shielding prevents
My autistic ass had to think for a second. Like, 15 million? That doesn't sound like a reasonable amount of games. No, dude, that's the actual number. Saber has made 15 million games in the past 3 years. Definitely true.
critical to Lhasa.
How could it not be true?
Engage.
It's on the internet. It must be.
Exile class runs empty. Lhasa, we're tracking your signatures.
Never in the history of mankind has a YouTuber misinformed people.
Brothers prevailed.
Did I play Eternal Crusade? That was one I didn't play too much of. Most of my backlog for these kinds of things is in like Space Hulk, Deathwing, Dawn of War 1 and 2 a little bit. Even a bit of Inquisitor Martyr.
Core integrity at 25%.
Jump pack refueled. Deliverance ahead, brothers.
Hurry. The cruiser has begun breaking apart. We will wait as long as we can.
Bonk. I gotta say, that was actually pretty effective.
Race for turbulence. If not for your valor to last.
With the Thunder Hammer, the heroic variant, you really don't have to build for damage on it, since the shock area is where most of your damage is coming from anyways. Or at least, like, that's the main reason you're taking the heroic Thunder Hammer, is because you want the shock areas. I don't know why you'd take it otherwise. Hey, you were playing the request? I appreciate it. No problem, dude. No problem at all. FTG, do you think they should overhaul the perk system in Space Marine 3 to create more build variety? Absolutely. Please do. I'm begging, actually. A lot of guys.